can't stop us now. We're not back in town, know what we're doing. Things about to change, it's evolution. Voices shake the ground, you feel it moving. We're the revolution. Can you hear this?
There we go. Probably should unmute the mic. So it's been a while since I've looked at this, so I gotta remember what I was doing. Is it even running? Okay, it's running. Things running. Things are running. Interesting. Something I actually wanted to check because I didn't actually know. Like if I go and kill the deployment for like radar, will it come back? Oh, I probably should be running it, but I did want to check that. Because I want to see if... Okay. So yeah, so if I like delete radar, it comes right back. Cool. That's really convenient. Because I was not sure if that would work or not. Okay. I'm not gonna worry about that, I don't think. Oh right, didn't I add a custom pirate ship controller? Yeah, I did. Right. So yeah, this is all the finalizer stuff, status updates, and then it's actually make the things. Okay. So now that shouldn't be putting out as many errors. I can go back and like kill one, it comes back. Cool. Perfect. So now the question is what's next? Let's kill that for a second. So these are all the things that I needed to like do, right? Because I wanted to set up a database. That's a maybe. And then set up like Prowler, and then I think those are going to be the easiest. Because these I already have CRDs for, so I'm essentially just passing through... yeah, I'm just passing through this platform stuff. Yeah, this spec to a radar. Like exactly the same as I would be doing like here, right? As I make this deployment, I get all these things. Yeah, same exact thing. Pull in the labels, yeah. Then you make the object. And then you spit it back out. Let's see if I can just get that. So let me go and delete all these other things. This has to be running, doesn't it? Let me go and do this. Run it over here. But that can keep going. I can kill all these. And LiDAR. Cool. So let's see what we can do. Because we're essentially, this is the radar controller. We're essentially right here. So I now need to make basically this thing does it? Yeah, then I can say if these things can be updated or whatever. So let's write essentially that function. I want a function for this pirate ship reconciler for making a radar for platform. And it's gonna take in the pirate ship, so the platform. Dot pirate ship, yep. And it's going to return dot radar or an error. That sounds about right. So then up at the top, I'm gonna have this. I'm not gonna worry about labels right now, because I think that'll take care of it later. But the main thing is the radar is this where's radar? There's radar. So then the spec is going to be platform.spec.radar.spec. And then the other thing is I need the object meta for the name and the namespace. Right. I think that's just going to be from something like this, right? So namespace, platform.namespace. This is going to be it's going to be like whatever you called your platform, you know, whatever, dash radar. And then the namespace. Now I have this radar. And then I just need to make sure set controller reference, platform radar, r.scheme. Otherwise, return radar nil. So I think that is, yeah, so the owner, and then the controlled object, and then the scheme. Yeah, okay, cool. That makes sense. So I'm going to make a radar based on the spec that I gave it. This is going to be its name, and then return that spec. So that's actually really, really easy to do. So while I'm here, sonar, radar, lidar. Sonar, radar, lidar. Cool. Radar and lidar. And I'm basically just going through doing this for everything. And And then instead of that being, yes, this needs to be the sonar spec. And the whatever I called this one. Thank you. I think that's my delivery, actually. Is it? That is something. I'll get that in a minute. Finish this. All right, let's also make sure these are refactored correctly. That's sonar. Radar. And radar. Okay. So now I've got functions that I can give it the platform. It'll take whatever spec I gave it and create a object out of it. I will worry about labels later, because that mostly isn't going to matter right now. So I basically need to do like this for all of them. Let's write that. So is going to equal some pointer to some radar. r.get context types dot namespace type. Oh, I see. So that actually is going to make... Okay, let's do this. Hardship reconciler name for application. So platform is a pirate ship, and then the application string will return a string. Sprintf platform.name application, just so that I keep just to make it more I basically what I'm trying to do, I'm not quite getting it, is I need this. I don't want this to be a name. I don't want it to be a string necessarily. I'm not too bothered by it. I guess that'll be fine. Because I basically want to be able to reference the same name generation code and not have to worry about misspelling. That gets it most of the way there. There's going to be some other clever solution to that I'll find in a little bit. But for now, that'll be fine. Because I just need to be able to get name. This is called what? Pirate ship. R.name for application. Pirate ship. Radar. And a namespace of pirate ship.namespace. What else is here? And put that into radar. Okay. API errors dot is not found. So if the error is I can't find it, then make it, right? Let's call this found. Radar error equals r dot radar for platform. Given that pirate ship. That I can pretty much copy paste. And just change out the stuff. Right? That's basically say, hey, there was a problem. This is all like the setting the status on the resource stuff. And then after that, I can actually make the thing. r.create error not equal to nil. Error, again, I'm just going to copy the error handling because that's not the interesting bit. Failed to create new radar. Radar. And at the end of that, you can do that. And that's now done. The same thing on the end of this is there's some issue with getting it. So it's going to look for an object of given type that in key namespace name. It's going to look for whatever I gave it, in this case a radar, in that place with that thing. So can I get this all taken care of? So let's finish this out. I'm not gonna worry. I'll worry about update in a minute because what I'm pretty sure I can do, right? Archer reconciler. Reconcile. Serve our application. Given this platform and this container. Because then I can basically just say, because all of these are going to function exactly the same, right? They're all going to have the same kind of setup. All I really need to do is just take the spec that I have from the platform and put it in the resolver, and then let its controller do all the updating and config management and all that. This is just the big wrapper. So for a given serve our application, which is going to be one of these things. Right. So then I'm wondering, do I do the same string? And just say, like, you know, for radar, sonar, whatever, like do this type checking? Because basically after here, this is the only place where it's referenced. That's supposed to be type available pirate ship. Yeah, basically after here is the only place that this thing is really referenced by name. Except for like here. So if I do that, Like, I could also pass in that function. Actually, I'm not gonna worry about that right now. I'm just gonna... I'm just gonna make... No, because I feel like I can do it. It's gonna bug me if I don't. So if I take in the platform that I have, I know what I need to do. Where are my API types? So up here, right? I have all these structs, and this is the deep copy stuff that it generates. What I care about is I want to create a types.go. So I'm gonna make something called a type serve our application. It's gonna be an interface, and there's gonna be a few functions that I care about. There's gonna be a function called get. I'm trying to think, what are the things I care about? I care about its name. Right? I care about getting an empty instance of it, maybe? No, I think this is going to be too complicated. I might revisit that, but I don't think I need it right now. But what I am basically going to do is take all of these and put them all into their own functions. So reconcile radar. I'm going to take all this reconciling, put it in here. So it needs a context. And all this is going to get platform, platform, platform. It needs to return that. Actually, in this case, yeah, that does need that. And then it needs the logger. Is the logger somehow here? Oh yeah, log is... Okay, but it gets it from the context, so I can just do this. Reconcile that result. I want to know if is 0. Okay, I can tell if it's 0. Cool. All I need to know. So if it's reconciling multiple... I guess I'll find out, but like if it's... So I guess it's only doing one action at a time, right? Like it's gonna create... It's gonna go through all this. It's gonna say, should I create a radar? Yes? Okay, create the radar. You know, and if it's all successful, it re-queues. That doesn't make a ton of sense though. So if I do create it, it won't create the next thing for another minute. Can I on K8S operator reconcile multiple resources? Yeah, job and a secret. Right. Is in a loop and it will not stop until all conditions are as expected. So you will just need to implement the checks. See here an example. Okay. So there's reconcile, right? If error equals create resources. So when it creates these things, if not create one, can config pre-existing one by informing them. Okay. That's updating all the statuses there. So what happens if they're already created? Like if I just update it? Like database service, right? Like fetch database service r.db service equals db service. Fetch database service. So it looks like I can just, I don't have to follow this exact pattern. I just have to make sure that that if I make something, so I look for it, and if not, I create it. Turn in the reconcile here. Okay, very different to when they created it, but all right. A result, right? So create and update. Okay, so this function, when it reconciles, shouldn't care about the fact that it should just return whether or not it errored or not. So like, that's an error, like, then it should do these things. So that'll go through, look for a radar, see if it's, yeah, if it's not found, make it, or build up the struct, build up the definition, update the statuses, which I guess I could also move this out of this bit to make it a little more easier. Yeah, there was some issue actually getting the resource, which is different. And otherwise you return nil. Update resources. So let's, like when I want to resolve for, so error equals r.reconcile radar with context pirate ship, right? So the other thing that I will have to do eventually is I will need to mark things as deleted if they get disabled, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. Right now I'm going to assume everything is going to be enabled and it's all going to be fine. Except for here. I am going to say platform.spec.radar.enable. So if this is not enabled, info radar disabled, not reconciling, and then you just return nil. No error, just not going to do anything. It's all fine. So now I say that, and then if error not equal to nil, do this. Right, like there was some issue creating it. So that's going to be what I want to do. So wait, it's... Now I'm confused. This is supposed to be... set status conditions on, yeah, on the parent object. So this should actually be pirate ship. All that should be pirate ship. With that error. So yeah, so I reconcile the radar, and then if it fails, you say condition false, reason reconciling, type available or unavailable? Available. Means a resource is not in the condition, right? So it is not available because it's reconciling, and it says failed to create radius for custom resource with this error. Cool. And then it says, you know, update it. Great. So yeah, basically create the spec, push the object to the API, then return nil. You know, if you're not enabled, don't do anything, don't create anything. And this should also be doing the updating. Great. So then we can do reconcile sonar. This is going to be sonar. It's going to be just a lot of copying and pasting sonar. Sonar. Everything's all sonar, everything's working. So yeah, so now I can basically do the exact same thing, except just reconcile sonar. Failed to create a sonar with all these things. Cool. So that should mean that when I create a pirate ship and I enable these things, it'll spin them all up. I will test that in a minute. So this is going to be reconcile readr. Readr. You get factored. Readr for platform. Looking all good. Looking all good. And this one's going to be LiDAR. LiDAR. That's supposed to be readr. So yeah, so then I can grab this. Reconcile readr. And reconcile LiDAR. Okay, so that takes care of basically creating all the resources. Again, I'm going to worry about updating later. And then I just need to update the status. And that would be my dinner. I'm going to let them drop it at the door, and then I'll go grab that. Now I can say pirate ship and pirate ship. Deployment for custom resources has been successful. Yeah, I actually don't want that. So wait. It gets to the end. It updates the status to created successfully. Okay, yeah, so it's just done. So let's type pirate ship. Deployed successfully. Can I spell? I can spell. Okay, so we got rid of that. True, all applications deployed successfully. Able to update pirate ship status. So now at this point, I should be able to create a pirate ship that deploys all these things, and that'll be fine. So where are my samples? Pirate ship. Yeah, a radar, a sonar, a LiDAR, and a readar, all with these specs, all enabled, all doing all these things. That should work. So these are pirate ships. And then we're also just going to bring up just a live look at the pods so we can see them kind of come up as they're going. So what I think I want to do is config samples -f pirate ship. Okay. And here's hoping this does something. Before I do that, it's running, right? I actually need to redo this. That would have been an embarrassingly long thing. That's oh. It doesn't like that being there. Okay. Now we can run this. It's running, it's got some stuff. Got a bunch of worker counts. Unknown fields. Okay. It's not enable, it's enabled. Yeah, okay. Make install, I think. Maybe that works. Sure. Config, samples, pirate ship. Okay. Oh. LiDAR, radar, radar, sonar. That is absolutely incredible. It actually did it. Holy shit. Okay. I was not expecting that to work. I was really expecting to have to go down some rabbit hole for the next, like, hour. Trying to figure out why all these things aren't resolving, but... Shit. Alright. Yes, now I have a pirate ship. Let's see, can I go down to, like, the spec? So we can see all the default versions for stuff. Yeah, because all these have default versions for all these different things. We can see like a whole overview of the entire platform just right here. So then the next question, if I delete this, will it delete everything? And nothing happened. That might be why. That's fun. Oh, right, because it's a controller controlling a Okay. How the hell do I do that? So like that's going to be somewhat normal, I think. Be able to update resource to add finalizer. So somewhere I'm not doing something right. That's the one that's going to be a problem. Performing finalizer operations before deleting the CR. So we got to there, and then observed a panic in the reconciler, invalid memory address. Okay. So why? We got here. So what's the last status it has? Spec status. That it's all good. So it never was able to update the status here. Well, yeah, we got here. And then it just... So, does it just... Is it because it doesn't have conditions by default? Like if I go to its types, it should have conditions. Pretty sure it should have conditions. So let's take a look at the one that it generated that works. Like my mark to be deleted, all this stuff. All these conditions. Do finalizer for pirate ship. So what was the error it gave me? Where was it where did the dereference go bad? In do finalizer operations. So it got to here. Do finalizer operations for pirate ship, yeah. Right there. On line 433. So... Well, that's not helpful. Or was it... A pirate ship controller 433. I am in the wrong controller. .33 r.recorder.event cr. Why does that panic? Huh? Whoa. I'll be right back. I'm going to grab my food from the front door. Alrighty. I'll leave that there for... I'm very, very confused. Because that's the object it's referencing. So... Like, because that's not a nil... Neither of those are nil pointers. What the hell? Um, so yeah, so we don't need to do this. It's not recommended to use finalizers with the purpose of deleting resources which are created and managed in the reconciliation. Right. These ones, such as deployment created on this reconcile, are defined and dependent as a custom resource. Right, so I don't have to do that. So... Huh? I'm so confused what actually happened. Yeah, it just immediately dies. Because it thinks it needs... It knows it needs to delete it. Like, it's marked for deletion. Just can't do it. Oh no, here we go. Okay. Performing finalizer operations for the custom resource. Finalizing unknown status type degraded. Right. So... It's that pirate ship like, that's the only reference that I can see. I think. Controller runtime, that, like, that file. Right, this is my code right here. Do finalizations. What is it panicking on? Address 020. Where's that coming from? I don't understand. Because it doesn't even, like, it fails right here. I just can't figure out why. Event warning, deleting. Warning find it before deleting CR. This thing. Observed a panic in the reconciler. That's the... Like, yeah, that's it. Understand what's wrong. It's like, it's marked for deleting, contains a finalizer. Sets the status to degraded, and then all it, like, if I did this, if I don't do finalizer operations, does that make it work? Yes. Why? I'm... Like, I don't need to do that. But I'm just saying, that doesn't make any goddamn sense. So they're all gone, and then... Like, all of the... Those should be gone as well. Cool. So, I mean, I guess that's progress. So yeah, well, I'll leave a little warning to myself. Causes seg faults. So that will reconcile all the different things. Yeah, I guess like it just works. It's fine. Like it's pretty quick. So I'm still not sure what the requeue time is. I guess it doesn't matter as much. Like, where's this bit? Yeah, so then you can do updating. What I'm curious about, right? So I think what I want to do is I'm not gonna worry about this yet. I'll put that on my to-do list. I want to take care of this. I want to get do I want to do that next? Maybe. So, because basically, in order for me to hook it up to the database, I have to go and write an init container for all these things to make that so. So I can get a database set up, but it won't really mean anything. I'm going to figure out updating first. Because essentially, what I really want to do is say if reflect.deep equal so if found.spec and the pirate or my platform dot spec.radar.spec are equal. I guess if they're not equal, I should do this updating. All right, so if they're not equal, then do this. Then found.spec equals platform.spec.radar.spec. Yeah. So yeah, so the value. So yeah, I don't know why that's a interesting. That's interesting that it's pointer to. Oh, because that's the deploy. Okay. So that's why that has to happen. So if error equals r.update found, then I should just return that error. Like there's that. So let's do this then. So for each of these, basically needs to be refetched, because I think that is what the problem was, that they were shifting underneath it as it was changing things, and it wasn't going well. So if this all works, I will find a way to generalize this, because this is annoying, and it'll make it easier, because Prowler is basically deployed in the exact same way. It's just a little bit special because all the other applications have to connect to it. So I don't know, if I can generalize this, then it'll probably go a lot smoother. That should make it. But if I restart this controller, and I deploy my sample, let's let everything get resolved. Oh, like 9 seconds old, perfect. Yeah. 3. So, I want to go to my spec, or not for radar, for pirate ship, and then go and edit radar's size to 3. Two. There's 3, yeah. So that works wonderfully. That is remarkably easy. And if I go and I change it to 1 again, we'll terminate 2 of them. Beautiful. Oh, I love when things work. It makes it so much easier. Okay. So now that that works, I can think about what happens, like how to generalize this, because this is really, really annoying to look through. And I have to do the same thing for Prowler, and it's just easier if I don't. So I think what I want to do is have some func. Parachip reconciler, reconcile serve our application. A platform I'm gonna need. Actually, I'll just say like reconcile server our applications. Or no, I want the generalized one first, and then I can iterate through it. I'm just gonna return an error. So that's, I basically want to be able to pass in the spec of it, or be able to pass in some reference to the spec and say, this is what you want to be doing. I could try to do generics. Like if I did, how do Go generics work again? Is it that? Hold on, how does this work again? There it is. Okay, so that is how it works. Method must have no type parameters. Why? I sure would like to. What if I just did application of type T? God, turn this on. Thank you. Golang generic functions on member or on methods? Is that how they're called in Go? Oh, of? Yeah, hate that. Want that. Does that mean this would have to be T any? No, right? That is... Okay, well, that's not going to work then. Can't use generics. I could keep going with the string idea. And then just have this be a switch. Let's see. So I would need to do, I need some way of doing it. So I think, okay, here we go. So if I do this, right? If I take this name string, I need a reference to its name, and I need a reference to the spec on the platform side. Then I should be able to do the rest. If I have some reference to the platform, and then application spec is gonna be, I guess it has to be any for now. Although, I guess no, if I manage to get the interface done. So let's try this. Serve our applications.go. Not a struct, an interface, which is going to do a few things. So in order for me to do this, I need to be able to get its spec from a platform. So I need to like get spec. But then I don't know. There's some interface I can use, but I don't know what it is. And I don't want to do the hacky version where I just make a list and pull from that. So let's think here. Like, I don't want to use any because that's going to get confusing. And it means I still have to do, like, typing on this. So given a spec, right, some radar, this is a platform something. I don't think I'm going to get around it, so I'm just gonna... I think I'm going to spend way too much time on this, and I think I just need to get it over with. So we'll do that. And we'll do this. So basically just running through each of them, check the error. And do that. Sonar, radar, LiDAR. And then these aren't new. Doesn't need a log. At the end, return nil. Basically now instead of all this, I can say error equals r dot reconcile server applications pirate ship. If error not equal to nil. Do this whole bit. How to reship pirate ship. And then set some status saying that it was having a problem. Failed to create server application for custom resources. And it'll have whatever error was there. Now all this gets replaced by that. So I lose some of the detail because I won't know exactly which application is crashing, but given how similar these things are, if it's one, it's probably all of them. So I don't think I'm losing that much information. Plus it'll have a bunch of logs and all that for everything that happens, so I'm not too upset about that. So if error get, yeah, refetch it, and then set its status, and then all that. So now I can do, so basically this is going to make sure everything is created. So then I can go back to kind of the radar controller bit. Actually, I don't think I need to do the 1 minute wait time. I think it's all fine. So that'll create all of those applications, and it'll make sure that their specs are updated if they're not the same. Cool. So let me add Prowler. What was the name of this thing? That's not it. It was like Cube Builder, thank you. Cube Builder, create API, group, all that, blah, 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 blah. Or Cube Builder. Here we go. Deploy image, run as user 1000. Let's go and find Prowler. Server wiki. So yeah, I want to go with Docker. That one. So run as user 1000 is right. The port is 9696. And the image is Prowler. I don't want to use latest. I want to use the most recent tag, which is not going to be there. It's going to be under releases, right? That is not a fun name. We have normal, nightly version, blah, 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 blah. Do we have normal version numbers somewhere, please? There we go, 1.10.5. Thank God for that. Right, 1.10.5, yep. 9696, this is going to be a Prowler. Yep. There we go, now I have the Prowler controller and the Prowler stuff. Let's go into here because I need to set some defaults. Size, min, max, all that. Container port needs these things. But this is going to be 9696. Similarly, version string there we go. Except it's going to be, it's 1.10.5. Cool. Sure that's all right. So yeah, then I gotta go into the controller and do that little setup for making sure it gets the version from where it's supposed to. Just do this real quick so that it stops yelling at me. Went for radar. So it gets the image from, oh yeah, I also gotta turn off the security stuff that it's gonna try and force because it messes things up apparently. From image, right, image comes from image for Prowler. Yeah, I don't like that. So we're gonna go with tag is Prowler, or one of these things. Prowler dot spec dot version. Prowler tag, and then fix up the handful of reasons that that's going to screw up. Right, there it is. We go for Prowler, put that in. You having problems? Oh. Prowler dot name. Okay, so now I have a Prowler that it can do. So let's go to my platform and add it there. Something it can control. So the difference with Prowler is it's not optional. Like you have to deploy it for it to be meaningful, or at least I think you should always deploy it. So I don't necessarily, I want to be able to assume that it's deployed. So What I need then is one of these things. There we go. So platform prowler. Prowler spec. Okay, emit empty. Okay. So now, what do I do now? So yeah, I don't care if it's enabled. If I do that, yeah. So, actually, I am curious now. If I just apply it again, this is still running, right? All right. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on there, but it does seem to work out. It just has a lot of overwriting and may take a minute, but if I delete that, let it all resolve. If I and do this, run make install, make sure the new CRDs are there. Yep. And then we'll do make run again. If I just apply the sample I have that does include anything with Prowler, does it have a problem? Is going to be a magic question. Let's find out. So it creates, well, I don't have a reconciler for any of this, but so it doesn't have a problem. Doesn't seem like. This is all the same, like, hey, your two controllers are talking over each other sort of thing. But that's all fine. Yeah, let's delete that. Let's add in the reconciler. I guess I can find out the same information if I just like comment out sonar or something and apply it again. Does it create it anyway? Oh, it wasn't done. It wasn't done deleting. Maybe let it finish and then I'll try that. Okay, so it doesn't have a problem. It assumes enabled is false. Perfect. And then if I do that with just enabled, just give me the defaults. Did it crash? No, it didn't crash. Deployment. Having trouble making the deployment. Creating a new deployment. Did it create a deployment with 0 replicas? It absolutely did. Okay. So that's gonna be interesting. Huh. Now I'm curious. So let's delete this. If I apply a sonar and I comment that out, if I apply it with no size spec, does it also deploy? It deploys a sonar with 0. Okay. So just because you have mins and maxes doesn't mean that you need to, okay, so like if I uncomment this and apply it again, I get 1 pod. So it says, like if I say 0, oh, interesting. So that is actually using the spec from like here to say, hey, that's below, but can I still apply it? Interesting. So the Kubernetes API is actually like kicking back, saying that's an invalid spec. Interesting. Okay. So let's go into Sonar now. And instead, let's make a default. It had a flag of exclusive maximum. That is really tiny text, but so exclusive maximum indicates the maximum is up to but not including that value. So I shouldn't be able to give it 3. Oh, exclusive maximum false. Okay. Which means yes, it can be 3 as well. Okay, so then let's add a default of 1. Make that. Make install it. And then run kind of the similar test. Like if I comment this out, actually let's go delete my sonar. And then we can apply this. And it should make a deployment of sonar with 1. Okay. Some of this stuff is starting to make sense. So I need to pull this default into all these. Default of 1. Default of 1. Default of 1, just all the way down. So now if I apply, start this real quick. If I apply a pirate ship and it just has a sonar enabled, you should see it makes LiDAR, radar, and sonar. Perfect, all with 1 replica. Now the question, so I have this and I say, oh, I don't want sonar anymore. I don't use it, I don't want to run it. What does that do? Nothing. Okay, so I need to have something that says, if it's not enabled, look for it and delete it if it exists. Okay. That's doable. So I need to go into the controller. CMD, no. Config, no. Control, there we go. Let's go to the pirate ship controller, go down to our reconcile sonar. That'll be our test subject. So yeah, so if it's not enabled, then we need to look for it either way. So yeah, so I should be doing this. So this check should actually come here. So if the error is not equal to nil, and it's you can't find it, then you do this. If you have other errors, do that. So actually this should happen after this check. So go look for it. Oh, I also never ported this to everywhere else. So hold on, before I get into that, let me make sure this gets everywhere. Sonar, radar, and LiDAR. Okay, so now I got all that. Now I can worry about deletion. So yeah, so this should go. So this says it's found. So yeah, it'll be something like this. So if it's not enabled, so should be deleted. So like this is you found it. So this is if it's disabled. So sonar disabled, deleting. Now the question is, how on earth do you delete something? Queue builder, implementing a controller. Right. Not gonna worry about that right now. Operations, referencing, finalizers, good practice, raising events, watching resources, webhooks, delete, delete, no. So I guess I can see up here, right? Like I can see where it gets deleted by something. So where's sonar? Is it going to be as easy as just found.delete? When a graceful termination is requested. Hold on. Queue builder, delete owned resource. So the skeleton code of implementing a finalizer. Huh? Right, that's that. I want to know how you delete it. I just want to know how to... Let's try this. r.delete. Okay. CTX found. Delete this thing. Failed to delete sonar. Do kind of the same thing. I did think about it. So I have, it's probably what I'm gonna change the name of this to, because I just called it Pirate Ship, because that's what I wanted to use. Because I basically have two other projects around this. One is for automatically configuring them, and then there's this. So I do think I am going to use it. Full transparency, this is like the fourth time I've actually started this project. And this is the farthest I've gotten. So I will eventually be naming it Plundar, but one of my old Git repos that's now like privated or deleted or I don't know, shoved in a corner somewhere, that one's named Plundar. Let's see. Actually, now that I say that, is this even in Git? Listen, it was better than everything else I could come up with. So I thank you for that. I had like some weird names I was trying to call it. Like I don't know what I'm supposed to do with it. So I think if I'm not completely inept, that'll do it. Where is it? Run again. Ew. Ew. Ugh. I don't know. C sharp. I'm not a fan of when Java does it either, but like the idea of like dynamic class loading always just it makes me want to vomit. I hate it. Okay. Oh wait, did it just work? Oh wait, is this the same thing where it's like it's a bug in the Win32 API and you were like chasing it down for like weeks? I think I remember you telling me about some like bug that you had. Is that make sonar? If I turn it off, let's see if I change its size to 3. It's up to 3, perfect. Set that back to 1. And then let's see what happens if I disable it. Oh, I love when things work. Love when things work. Its current status. Yeah, all applications deployed successfully. Woo! To thread ID, but .NET got thread ID tracks the main thread of the app. Oh, it does virtual thread IDs. Oof. But why? That, like... So wait. But that doesn't make any sense. So that's basically a function that does a whole bunch of weird syscalls, but always returns 1. That seems like the... seems like the most busted function I've ever heard of. Oh, I see. I guess that makes sense, but like, that just feels like a really fancy way to get the number 1, I'm just saying. Okay. So I've managed to delete something, which I never thought I'd be so happy about, but yeah, we do the big copy paste. This is gonna give me like PTSD of like I copied the same thing 6 times and I just couldn't figure out how to generalize it good enough. I will eventually figure it out, but right now I'm just so done. Non-thread locked hotkeys were working, but then the thread locked ones were always being assigned thread ID. Oh, I see. That sucks. Wait, how long did it take you to figure out that it was the difference was that they were threaded like thread locked versus not thread locked? Because I can imagine myself running around with my head cut off for like hours until I realize what the they just randomly don't work. I don't understand. And then finally going, oh, the dreaded oh. Not the that one. Okay. That's not terrible. I just those are the kind of bugs that I just don't enjoy even trying to track. Like sometimes bug finding can be like somewhat enjoyable because it's like, oh, like I wonder what the problem is. But like when you're looking at it and you're like, I don't even understand where the code is even going. You just get to yell at your duck and pray for answers. Walk around, take a walk, question all your life choices, and then you go, oh wait, I forgot a semicolon. There you go. I've done that a couple times. Well, not semicolons, spaces. I forgot spaces in string checks. Ah, the good old. Oh, that's perfect. Just yeah, just do the old way. It's fine. Okay. I need the Prowler one now. Same. Now I need a reconcile Prowler function. Prowler. On the verge of replacing it because of all that, so it was deprecated. Place func the rec was no better. Oh, what is this? Oh my god. What? Okay. That is fucking horrifying. Last revision 2005. Or sorry, 2007. Ugh. And this is the code that the world runs on. Isn't that great? Yikes. Oh. Someone forgot to include it in the build. It'll be fit. No, it's fine. It's fine. Just don't worry about it. Think that will do it. Oh, that probably needs to be Prowler. And so does that. Yeah, gotta make that function. But other than that, let's see. A Prowler. Prowler.spec. It's gonna annoy me enough that I'm just gonna refactor it and do it, but so now I should be able to, if I start this and start it again, it should go and find there is no Prowler and make one. That says sonar. Why did it make a sonar? Eh? You know, kind of close enough. Well, I'm trying to see what the spec of this thing is, because did I tell sonar to be there? Yeah, enabled false. What did I just break? Okay, well that should be radar. Sonar. Hold on. Okay. Sonar, like where else does sonar appear where it shouldn't? Sonar for platform. Nowhere else, right? Is it... Kind of. So the point of these is that you give it, like, where is it? I can give it something like this, right? And this is the only, basically it's auto-generating YAMLs. But the neat part is that it can get input from like other things and manage like full life cycle. So it can like look at the status of something and say, hey, this one's crashing. Or it can look at the metrics and say, hey, this one's really overloaded. We need to like increase the amount that it's there. It's basically a program that has complete access to the Kubernetes API. So anything you could have done as a user, it can do automatically or for whatever other reason. So yes, but it can do a lot more. Why did it make sonar? Right, already exists. Right, but it's not supposed to exist. Pretty much. It's pretty much auto ops. So instead of debugging Kubernetes, you get to debug the operator. Much better. It's basically, if Kubernetes wasn't complicated enough, we added another layer on top of it that makes it infinitely more complicated. Let's see. I can't figure out why the hell this thing is... Like, yeah, reconciling Prowler. Prowler, no sonar. That's all Prowler, yeah, no sonar to be found. I'm so confused. Like, I'm not crazy, right? Yeah, sonar enabled false. So why then? Why? Well, that's not right. Right, that one is actually radar. Sonar spec. Oh, I'm stupid. Yeah, I'm stupid. Basically, it was trying to update every other application to be sonar. Yes, no, sonar goes away. Radar, lidar. Yeah. Still not making the Prowler, which it should be. Let's see. Everything should be sonar, I agree. Okay, so that did that. So now, why is Prowler not getting deployed? Because apparently they're not related. I'm not actually calling reconcile. I'm not actually calling it. Okay. I should really remember to do things I say that I'm going to do. That would probably solve like a whole category of problems for me. Restart that. And how did sonar come back? I thought I got rid of you. Where do you come from? Huh. It won't die. So where the fuck did that come from? Okay, all of this, all the sonar is all inside of a sonar function, right? Still inside reconcile sonar, still inside of Sonar for platform, all only sonar. Okay, so something about calling reconcile prowler made sonar come back. How? Failed to update sonar status. Auto can modify blah blah blah. Yeah. Cannot be fulfilled. Update sonar status. But you don't need to do that. There's. I don't get it. Why is sonar everywhere? Like, there's nowhere that's not sonar that has sonar in it. Where? Where the hell is this thing? Like, it's definitely trying to make a sonar. I just can't figure out why. Yeah, adding finalizer to sonar. So, like, it made a sonar. Pretty sure. Actually, we can... Yeah, it made a sonar. Maybe it just does that sometimes? I am so confused. Oh! I'm an idiot again. So it checks if it is able to find the thing first, and if it can't, it'll create it. It only deletes it afterwards, which then it can't find it again and creates it again. I know, that's really crazy how often me being an idiot causes problems. It's probably not the issue, though. So I just need to do and .spec .sonar .enabled. And then just do that across the board. It would probably help if I paid attention a lot more, but that requires me to pay attention, and I just can't be bothered. Let's see, radar, sonar, radar, and LiDAR. I think that's the last one, because then it's Prowler. Yep, okay. So one more time. There it goes. That was the squeaky wheel. Okay. So that's got just about everything I need now. Like, I got Prowler up, I got all that up. The last things that I need to be able to resolve are a database. I have Prowler done. So now I need one for the database. And that's gonna be a really good question. So, because there's like a K8S, there's, because I could either do all this management myself, or I can couple it with another operator. Allowing you to deploy all these things, because I really don't want to have to run it like that. Here's what I can do. like first and foremost. Enjoy your dinner. I'll enjoy my satanic YAML files. I can add in the spec here to see, like I can add db spec, and that can be like what I need in order to connect to the database, which in the case of this is, I think, it's going to be pretty straightforward. Like, yeah, because I can control that. That doesn't really matter. It's like a password, a username, and a URL. That's pretty much all I need. Yeah, host, port, username, password. Password's going to be another fun part, but actually, I might be able to get away with it. So like if I do post string omit empty port and then what I want are credentials. And then here's where it's gonna get tricky, because essentially what I want is reference. I need to know what they call it. Like if I go to a pod, Kubernetes API, workload, pod spec, container, ports environment variables, env var. Because this is essentially what I want, is value from env var source. Because I want to be able to say from a config map, from a value from field ref, resource secret key, or just be able to pass in a value. So I essentially want, I basically want this, but without the name attached to it. Can I do that? See if I can just find. I don't know where on earth I'm going to find that. I got meta v1 dot. How on earth do you find that? env value from. I mean, that's essentially what I want, right? It's like an env var, but I just don't care about the name of it. K8S Go API env var. API v1 env var. Perfect. So which v1 is it exactly? Where does env-var come from? Does it come from though? Like if I say okay, hold on. APIs slash oh wait, I know. I can just go to these controllers. Oh, right. Go to one of these LiDAR controllers. Go down to where I make the thing. Yeah, then I just say this. 4v1. .env-var. Yeah, maybe not as easy. There we go. .env-var. Am I using meta? Oh. So, I can do that, but I actually don't even want that. I want it to be my own struct. Where you have value. Actually, because I basically just want to have... Okay, no, hold on, I got this. Type db credentials. You have username. Value is a string. Omit empty, and then you have value from, which is the core v1.env from source. Or an env, I think it's an env var source. So yeah, this can be from a field, from a resource, from a config map, from a secret, whatever. Doesn't matter. Username is an env value. Yeah, these are now both there. That is that. So now I can do that. So I can either do like host port credentials. So basically if any of these if these are all empty, then I can go and do those things. It's one of those things where like one of these has to be right? I'll figure that out in a little bit, but so yeah, we got host port credentials, perfect. So now we can say DB is the DB spec. DB. So that's like, this is basically assuming like you're gonna connect to a database. And then later, I guess I can basically say like, hey, if all this is configured, then spin it up with the init containers for all this stuff. And then later on I can say like, have a switch of like internal. I guess, hold on. I can add that. Source string. There's a thing where I can say, where is it? Cube builder, CRD validation. It's like one of option. Let's see, finds this a scalar field resemble to the exact value specified here. Yes, enum. This one goes on this. Enum equals, I think. Maybe? Okay, there we go. So this can either be internal or external. That is one of those things. I'll set the default. It's going to be internal. Or no, it's going to be external by default right now. So by default, it's connecting out to an external database for all this. These should also be required. I guess no, I don't need to make them required because this is validating whether the spec itself is valid or not. Yeah, so that's fine. Host port, blah, blah. Yeah, so now. So yeah, now I have something that can do that, and I'm choosing to do external by default right now, just so that it's there and it's ready for later. But I'm not going to be doing that right this very second. What time is it actually? Alright, well, at some point I should actually eat food. And I think I'm gonna do that soon. But I think I got a lot done today. I got like basically all of the resources are creating, deploying, and all resolving pretty much correctly. I have the spec laid out for the DB. I got basically all of my controllers done in Pirate Ship. Like all this is done. It's still going to annoy me that this isn't generalized, but I will cry about that later. So I think next time the goal, like the next time I stream, if the goal is going to be getting a database connection started, or starting to like basically starting to like push configuration and maybe even designing like start working on Config.R, one of my other projects, to get all of these platforms automatically configured on boot. That would be pretty interesting. Yeah, because then we can say like if certain things about this spec change, like if I go up here and I say like I don't know, what's like a thing that we can change in, like I want to find an example so I like really have an idea of what I'm doing. Because this is basically the migrating is like I'm not confident about being able to get that to work. I'll try, but that feels like it's going to be a really rough one. But things like there's a bunch of settings that you can create initially. Like let's see if I can find them. It's like if you go into like radar and into one of these, there's config.xml, right? There's also a bunch of settings that you can have in the that are stored, I believe, in the database by default. If I have that right. So it might be, yeah, radar main. I don't know, I think it'll be interesting to like get it into a Postgres database, see what we have access here, and see what we can kind of manipulate from there. Because then, right, like if we can change all the settings and do all the configuration through the database, then you don't even necessarily need Config.R to do it like as an init container. You can just jump into the database through here as part of the resolution and configure everything just in the database. Like, all right, you boot it up, I'll connect into your database, set a bunch of settings that you told me about. Because then we can essentially port a lot of what we have here as settings. You can port quite a lot of this into like this CRD definition, which will be very interesting to see if we can do. Yeah, and I think that's gonna be it for me. I should probably eat something and, you know, do something else for a little bit. I really appreciate you guys hanging out, enjoying. Let's see if we can find somebody to raid. Who's doing stuff right now? Anyone else doing DevOps? There's a lot of these are game dev. Like Home Labs. Let's see. See if I can actually figure out how to do this. Alright, thanks everybody for watching. Till next time.